The Black Lives Matter account on X has posted a video. Now, this account says that it's a direct response to the murder of Iryna Zarutska. Maybe. In it, a black woman says that they have a right to violence. Now, here's the clip in question. I'm just going to show you this. I got my phone right here. I'm going to tap this so you can see it. And there's the video. That's not, here we go. Let's try this again. I tap it and we go back to the first one and there it is.
All oppressed people have a right to violence.
Just to show you that the video is real. I checked it. It's on Instagram. Listen to this.
Have a right to violence. All oppressed people have a right to violence. And I'm going to tell you something. It's like the right to pee. You got to have the right place. You got to have the right time. You got to have the appropriate situation. And I'm absolutely convinced that this is it. Have a right to violence. All oppressed people have a right to violence.
So let me do this because she says we have a right to violence, right? Check this out.
Have a right to violence. All have a right to violence. All oppressed people have a right to violence. And I'm going to tell you something. It's like the right to pee.
Yup. Now, I don't know exactly where that's from. And I'm sure that the argument they're going to make is, no, we're talking about resisting oppression. We're talking about, it's not about just killing a random person. This is Black Lives Matter. This is what they have done for the decade they have existed. Let's start from the beginning. Trayvon Martin. This is where Black Lives Matter was born. And it was a lie. Now, I don't think Trayvon should have died. I don't want anybody to die, right? George Zimmerman, a Hispanic guy, okay, not even a white guy. He's mixed race. If you want to really get into the nitty gritty, sees Trayvon Martin. He's on neighborhood watch. He thinks something is suspicious and he confronts him. Trayvon confronts him back. A fight breaks out and Zimmerman is getting ground and pounded. That is, Trayvon is on top of him, punching him or hitting him or something to that effect. Zimmerman draws his gun, which he is legally allowed to have, and shoots him. And what happened? When the police arrested Zimmerman, let me see if I can get Zimmerman police station photo. He was injured. And the police saw the injuries to his face. And they said, yeah, he was defending himself. I don't know if we can. Okay, here we go. He was bleeding. Look at this. Neighbors suggest. Let me see if I can pull up this image. This is the image published in 2013 that went viral. Zimmerman's nose looks broken. He was being beaten. And what did they say? They said a white man shot and killed a black teenager. Okay, well, Zimmerman is Hispanic. He's not a white guy. And it was in self-defense. Michael Brown. What happened? Michael Brown and his friend robbed a convenience store, stealing, I think it was cigarillos. I'm not entirely sure. When they were walking back, while walking in the street, Darren Wilson, a police officer, in his vehicle, had confronted him. Michael Brown, according to the Obama DOJ, tried to steal Darren Wilson's gun, and Wilson shot him. What happened? Dude who was there lied and said he put up his hands, said, don't shoot, and the cop shot him for no reason. Hands up, don't shoot, right? Let me see if I can find this. Hands up, don't shoot diagram. What we find is that in the court case, this is just a whole bunch of art. Michael Brown shooting diagram. What you find is that the points at which he was shot indicate he did not have his hands up. So let me see if I can find this photo. There's a bunch of these photos, but Wall Street Journal, give me the business here, but let's pull this one up. Independent autopsy shows no sign of struggle in Michael Brown's shooting. Sure, we can see where he was shot with his arms. The ultimate argument was that it was not indicative that it was that his hands were up. Let me do this. Let me pull this one up just to verify it for you. Eric Holder, Michael Brown, hands up, and see if we can find this one. I'm pulling it up all at the last minute, and let's see. Let's just. Oh man, I mean, I got it right here. Super long, but the ultimate. Let's just do this. Conclusion on page 86. It's all the way at the bottom. Let's see what this one says. The matter should be closed. Derek Wilson stated his intent shooting Michael Brown was in response to a perceived deadly threat. The only possible basis for prosecuting Wilson under Section 242 would therefore be if the government could prove that his account is not true, that Brown never assaulted Wilson, never attempted to gain control of his gun, and therefore clearly surrendered in a way that no reasonable officer could have failed. Given that Wilson's account is corroborated by physical evidence and that his perception of a threat posed by Brown is corroborated by other eyewitnesses to include aspects of testimony, there is no credible evidence that Wilson willfully shot Brown as he was attempting to surrender on his own or otherwise not posing a threat. Even if Wilson was mistaken in his interpretation of Brown's conduct, the fact that others interpreted that conduct the same way as Wilson precludes the determination that he acted with a bad purpose to disobey. The same is true if Wilson could be said to have acted in poor judgment. That is to say, this is the Obama DOJ that basically found Darren Wilson, who shot Michael Brown, was not doing it on accident, poor judgment, and that his threat was corroborated. They kept saying in the media that Michael Brown was a child, a teen. He was like, 6 foot, 240? He was a big dude. And you know what? I'm sad that he died, okay? I don't want any of these people to die. But listen to this one more time.
We have a right to violence. All oppressed people have a right to violence. And I'm going to tell you something. It's like the right to pee. You got to have the right place. You got to have the right time. You got to have the appropriate situation. And I'm absolutely convinced that this is it.
Now, I don't know. This is a vintage African woman, it says. Let me see if I can find where this quote is from. We have a right to violence. Let me see if I can pull this one up. Because obviously, it's from a film where she's making a reference about something having happened. Okay, I found it. Let's see what it is. 1983, Born in Flames by Lizzie Borden, a radical intersectional feminist director. The film explores issues of inequality. Born in Flames. Okay, let's pull this one up. Born in Flames, and let's get the 1983 utopian dysfunction. Let's read the context on this. It's set during the 10th anniversary of a peaceful socialist democratic revolution and follows two feminist groups in New York City, each voicing their concerns to the public by pirate radio. One group, led by outspoken white lesbian Isabel, operates Radio Ragazza. The other, led by a soft-spoken African-American, Honey, operates Phoenix Radio. The local community is stimulated to action after a world-traveling political activist, Adelaide Norris, is arrested upon arriving at a New York City airport and suspiciously dies while in police custody. Simultaneously, a women's army, led by Hillary Hearst and advised by Zella, an elderly theorist and mentor, is taking direct action in the city. It involves several women with different perspectives and attempts to show several examples of how sexism plays out. Okay. Ultimately, after both radio stations are suspiciously burned down, Honey and Isabel team up and broadcast Phoenix Ragazza Radio from stolen vans. They join the women's army, blah, blah, blah. Wait, hold on. The film ends with the women taking one more action: to bomb the antenna on top of the World Trade Center to hinder further destructive messages coming from the government and the mainstream media. That's the message that they posted. Now I'm going to say this. There is a right to violence. It exists in certain circumstances. That is, in defense of yourself or others. The American revolutionaries resorted to violence when being oppressed. But why? Only because they were acted upon with violence. Iryna Zarutska, how dare BLM post this right now, with this being the story? Iryna Zarutska is not from here. She's not a colonizer or an oppressor. In fact, according to the Coalition for Communities of Color, she, as an Eastern European, is actually a person of color. She fled war for which her country was invaded, and then she was murdered by a black man for no reason. And they have the gall to say, to post this clip with no context, we have a right to violence. They're telling you they will kill you. They're telling you it's the macro. It's the sins of the father. Nick Shirley posted a video in June. I reposted it, where he's in a protest. I think it's in New York. And he asks people what's going on. And a black man just starts screaming at him, this evil white person who colonized the country and wasn't born there. And then some Hispanic guy says the same thing. White people can't be born here. These people are evil. They are demons. They are evil. Now, by all means, criticize colonization, whatever. I'm not going to sit here and celebrate slavery or say that the colonists were innocent of wrongdoing or anything like that. War and conquest happens. And if your argument is war and conquest are bad, by what argument do you have to say that your war and conquest is justified? So I'll say this. Oppressed people do have a right to violence, and it is like when you pee. I don't completely disagree with this quote. I disagree with the context in which it is posted. If there is a group of people, maybe they're white, maybe they're black, maybe they're Asian, whatever, and they are literally oppressed, factually, they are being held in camps, they have a right to defend themselves against that violence. But what these people are doing is lying about what's going on. Right now, as many people have pointed out, interracial violence, 26 times higher black on white than white on black. Yet they're telling all of us white people are the problem. Well, certainly that's not correct. So who's really being oppressed? I would argue if we're talking about interracial violence, white people are being oppressed by black people. Oh, the liberals are going to run wild with that one. How dare you say that, Tim? Well, I'll tell you, it's because the stats show in 2022, 562,000 black on white instances of interracial violence and 96,000 white on black. 462% higher black on white. So who's being oppressed? Now, you want to talk about institutions and history? Sure, but that's in the past. And I certainly take issue with all of those things as well. But let's make an argument about what oppression means. If you really want to get down to it, it looks like you can't really quantify it. Certainly in the past you can. And as of today, there are certain problems. But when you have this degree of violence and murder and you claim it's justified, I'd argue that people like Iryna Zarutska, who are not colonizers, enemy combatants, who weren't born here, who have nothing to do with the history of this nation, came from somewhere else, fleeing violence, and you murder her, you're oppressing people based on the color of their skin. Is that the game you're going to play? Because your argument is all oppressed people have a right to violence. Well, what happens when everyone says they're oppressed? Welcome to the hellscape. I'll leave it there. More to come. Smash the like button. Stay tuned. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all in the next segment.